We're live on YouTube. Say hi.
Hello, YouTube. You YouTubers.
Hello.
Bastards.
You YouTubers, you sons of bitches.
You sons of bitches.
It sure does.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
Goddamn sucking. Hello, everybody.
Stupid list. Hey, everyone. I'm JB,
And I'm Mike.
and we're back for another installment of This List Sucks.
Yes, that's all we can do is just continue to install the suckiness.
Yeah. We've already installed too many, and at this point, we have to finish the installation.
Yeah. Although, every week that goes by, it seems like
The suckiness is abated.
I mean,
a
we're at
little
least there's at least 2/5 of every week is fucking ripping at this point.
Yeah. I mean, the
And there are
average
some
is
weeks-
definitely climbing.
Yeah,
I think
and there are some
pretty
weeks
soon.
where it's just like last week was a fucking banger of a week, dude.
it was. Yeah. This week is maybe not as good on the whole, but still really good. There are highlights. But I just mean as a group of 5.
Yeah, there's some massive highlights for me in this week, but I don't know that I'm necessarily going to be too argumentative about their placement on the list.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
It does make sense.
New music
What's
today.
new? Yeah. Today,
Primus.
Primus came
If you
out.
haven't done it, you need to do it right now.
We were doing it a little bit, and I've heard about the first 5 minutes, but the track that came out, was it just the whole EP come out today or just the first track?
Well, the whole EP is just one track because it's a 12-minute single track. Now, it doesn't show Ghosted other tracks on this EP, but I read an interview with Les Claypool where he's talking about how this is basically the first song of like a 3-part monstrosity suite that he's always wanted to put together.
Awesome. I didn't realize that it was just because when you go on Apple Music and you type in Conspiranoia, which is the name of the track and the EP, it says Conspiranoia the album and then Conspiranoia the song. So I figured that it was like there are others, but that's just it. But it's an 11.5-minute song. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's really fucking cool.
yeah,
Like
what I
just
heard, I liked.
super bizarre territory, and I love the chorus on it, and I love the ending on it. It's fun. It's fun, wacky Les Claypool. So Les Claypool wanted to make like a 25 to 30-minute song, I guess, like an overture or a suite. But I mean, imagine what Les Claypool would do with 25 or
30
30
minutes. That's too much time to give to Les Claypool. You don't want to do that.
It's entirely too much time for that goofy bastard.
Yeah.
He's definitely taking advantage of it with this one.
Yeah.
But I mean, really cool areas too. You know, like I sent a text message to JB and some other friends. Oh, no, I didn't. Did I?
You did this evening.
God damn it.
Yeah, this evening.
I'm so fucked up. I don't remember who I sent messages to, but I did make a comment to some collection of my friends about how I wish that Les Claypool had sent this to Stuart Copeland and Trey Anastasio so that they would play this song as Oysterhead.
Maybe they will. Maybe they will.
Because
Could
the guitar lines were like right in Trey's wheelhouse, in my opinion.
Yeah.
They were fucking right there.
That would be awesome. That's the wish list.
No hatred against Larry Lalonde, because I'm Team Larry, I'm Team Herb. Like,
Is it the guitar player from Primus?
Yeah. And I love him. Like, super fun, super quirky. And I didn't get to see A Farewell to Kings before yet, and
they're still on it, aren't they?
Dude, they're getting ready to go on fucking 50 dates because it kept getting postponed because of COVID. So
they're coming to Cedar Rapids.
They're coming to Cedar Rapids. They're coming to Kansas City. They're coming to St. Louis. I think they're doing Minneapolis. Minneapolis might not be there. That might not be a real thing.
Yeah.
But they're playing the Sylvie. They're playing the Sylvie up in fucking
They're doing Madison.
Too.
Nice.
Yeah.
The Sylvie is a cool venue.
Yeah, there's tons of opportunities to catch them, but it's
not going to happen for
you. They're
you.
going to slip through my fingers. Sadly.
Yeah.
Because that's a fucking great Rush record, dude. A Tribute to Kings is spectacular.
It is. How long is that album? I wonder.
32 minutes.
It is like all the other Rush albums. Yeah.
Yes. Exactly.
I wonder if they're gonna like play it for like a middle set and then how they're structuring the concert. You know.
Oh no! So what they're doing is they're doing A Farewell to Kings as the first set, And I'm sure that they're going to extend it and kind of jam it out a little bit because Les is prone to do that anyway. And
Right.
then the second set is
All
basically a
Primus.
best of Primus.
Nice.
Yeah.
I dig it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have an unexpected guest tonight.
We do?
Mama.
Oh, and Mama. Yeah.
Yeah, because Mama, it sounds like she might be a consistent contributor to them.
Yeah.
As she bats around, whatever the fuck she. One of my hairless cats is running around, letting everybody know that she's here.
Yeah, and she is not a fan of the placement of the albums tonight. I'll tell you that.
Absolutely
for sure.
not.
I mean, she
She's
must.
fucking
That must be
angry.
what it is.
Listen, she's a huge Raekwon fan.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
She
She
thinks
felt
he
like
was
the
really
sh-
snubbed.
The
Yeah.
chef got fucked. You know, she probably puts Chef top 75.
Easy.
Well,
Yeah.
listen
Easily
to
in her
her.
top 75.
She hears us talking about
Oh,
it.
she just kicked her camera. So bad that I'm gonna have to go adjust that. Because right now you're totally out of the picture. Do you want to be in the picture, Mike? You keep talking. I'm gonna fix the camera.
Okay, I'm gonna keep talking. Although I'm gonna stop talking about Raekwon because clearly, when you talk about Raekwon too much around Baby Mama Cat, the hairless, I almost wish that we could just fucking lift up the camera and take a shot of that crazy. No, don't do it. No, stop. No, don't do it.
I'm not gonna do it.
Okay, good. Like she's still over there crying and bitching. At any rate, in addition to Baby Mama Cat, fucking annoy the shit out of this all night. We're also going to have Lee Stamper, friend of the show, longtime friend of the show, friend of the earth, and friend of humanity. Lee Stamper is going to join us to talk about the very last album that we're going to talk about this week, which is going to be Elliott Smith, because this is like, it's a big record for him.
Yeah, he loves it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I, the first 6 times that I listened to it before and after I took notes, it didn't click. But I was literally walking my dog one night. I was listening to Alameda, and I swear to God, it was like something happened in my world, and
You put in the work.
dude, I fucking love that record.
It's good. Yeah.
Fucking love it.
I don't think I listened to it 6 times though. Maybe I need to do that.
I mean, that's
to
when it
achieve
clicked
that
for
level.
Me.
Yeah.
I listened to it another fucking 5 or 6 times. I've listened to that record a ton in the past.
Would you say you listened to it the
2.5
most of any of the ones for this week?
Easily.
By far? Yeah.
And the one, well,
I mean, Raekwon you've listened to a lot already.
that's what I was gonna say. Like in terms of like cumulative listens, probably not the most, but in terms of listening to records within the past month,
Yeah.
it's easily the record that I've listened to more than any other records over the past 4 weeks.
Wow.
Easily.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, that'll be fun to have Lee on to talk about that.
I went through a number of days.
A number of days
It
where
was
you're
a
pure
lot of
Elliott
days.
Smith.
Yeah, because I mean we've had breaks.
Are you okay? You feeling all right?
We'll talk about that.
Okay.
But at any rate, it's a super good week, and we're excited to have Lee because this is a big record for Lee.
Yeah.
Really, really loves it.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
it's always fun to have
He
him.
didn't come on for our conversation on the snub one, did he? I can't
No,
remember.
no, because that was Justin Handel.
Yeah, was it? Yeah,
Yeah,
I know we
Justin
had a
Handel was
guest
on.
on there. That was just to be clear, we didn't have. This is our first Elliott Smith, only Elliott Smith.
Only.
We did an episode where we covered Elliott Smith's debut record,
yeah, his
but
self-titled.
that was a snub.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because that one doesn't appear on this list. And it's funny because when we did that snub episode, I was so angry that record wasn't on here. And I still maybe kind of am just because of some of the other just total nonsense.
Yeah, that is on
I
here.
found on here.
Did you go back and listen to that after having fallen in love with this one?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't. That's what I need to do is go back and listen to that debut again.
It's gonna be so stupid to say this about this record, but it's too raw.
Gotcha. Too lo-fi, would you say?
But the stupid thing is, like, you listen to this record, and it's not like there's no more production. But as an artist, I think that there's tremendous growth as an artist between that record and this record.
Probably also higher quality equipment, which probably makes a little bit of a difference.
But even,
I don't know.
yeah,
I don't know too much about his. I don't know. Maybe he didn't. Maybe he had the exact same equipment. Who knows?
I mean, it's gonna be whatever he could carry around because I think the dude was homeless a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fucking
Doesn't
that's-
make for good recording.
No,
Yeah.
which is terrible to say. But there's also a soft spot in my heart for either or because in my research I found that it was only one song, but one of the songs was recorded at a place called The Body Shop in Arcata, California. which is where Humboldt State University is located.
You've been there?
That's my alma mater.
To the body
no,
shop.
No, I've never fucking been to the body shop. Never heard of it. But it just like Arcata is
Was it a recording studio or was it like a bar? Okay, I wasn't sure if it was like okay.
No. It wasn't a live track or anything. It was like I'm assuming that at one point in time that was a recording studio because there's plenty of local artists around Arcata
For sure. Yeah.
But it's such a small it's such a small fucking tiny little place that anytime Arcata appears, people that like have lived in Arcata or that graduated from Humboldt, it's just, that's one of those
home
things.
base.
Yeah, that's one of those because Arcata will always be one of my homes.
For sure.
You know what I mean? Like that's always anytime I go back to that place, I'm like, yeah, this feels like home. So
yeah, I get that.
Well, we've talked a fuck ton around Elliott Smith already, but
we don't even need to do that conversation about Elliott Smith.
I know.
We'll
I'm sorry.
Sorry, Lee.
Lee Sanford. Yeah, we'll talk later.
Have you on next time. Have a good night, buddy.
Any other new music? Do you have concerts coming up?
I do have a couple little things coming up here in town. Yeah, for those here that live here in Des Moines, come out to Fire Trucker Brewery on April 30th. Yeah.
Have you been out there actually?
I actually never been there, no. But it's a cool place, and I've had their beer. From what I hear, it's a cool place.
I was talking with my sister about that place, and we actually like pulled up images on Google and everything because we were talking about it in relation to the Big Grove Brewing Company
that they're putting in here in Sherman Hill.
Yeah, they're putting in down here in Sherman Hill, and so we pulled up pictures. That fucking place is rad. Yeah,
that's what I've heard from the photos I've seen. It's really
cool.
It's really small too. Like that's what people like. We're playing outside. My band is playing outside for like some kind of big event
on the patio.
So I keep telling people that are playing that they're like, "Wait, what? Your band's playing inside of Fire Trucker?" I'm like, no, we're playing outside.
Yeah, but they've got a super fucking rad patio set up out there.
We'll tell your sister to come on down.
My sister. So I don't get to come.
You're gonna be out of town.
This type of fucking gig.
You're gonna be in Atlanta.
That's the now it all makes sense.
Now it all comes together.
Now it all comes together.
Yeah, you're like, why are you inviting you're my sister, not me?
I'm like, you motherfucker. What?
I'd rather you sit this one out, Mike.
It's too fucking intense, bro.
I can't handle it.
Is that Johnny Novocaine was playing?
No, that's Pale Blue Earth.
Oh, it is Earth.
Other things, there's some exciting music coming to Des Moines. You see Jack White is coming to Des Moines.
What?
Yeah. Jack White's
serious?
I'm dead serious.
At Wells Fargo?
He's coming to Val Air, dude. He announced this.
What the? No,
it's absolutely the truth.
This is April 6th. April Fool's Day was a long time ago. So he's serious.
Absolutely. On his little tour that he's doing, it's not like I can't remember what it's called, but like the band that he has put together for this. I'm gonna look it up right now because I gotta figure this out.
Yeah, because I don't believe you.
the supply chain issues tour is what it's called. And yeah, he's coming to the Val Air Ballroom, dude. August 14th or something, August 15th.
God damn it. Is that a midweek show?
It's a Sunday, I think. It's the Sunday of Alpine Fish, which you're not going to, so it doesn't really affect that. I may be going to, so I might have to miss the Jack White, but we'll see.
Wow.
I can't believe that, though. Getting him to come to Des Moines and just to Val Air.
To fucking Val Air is the wildest part about that. So
makes sense, though.
For those of you listening afar, Val Air Ballroom is, it's not an arena. What's the capacity there? 2,000? 3,000?
3,000 at the most, I would say.
Yeah, 3,000 would be a fucking tight room.
But it makes sense. Sam Summers was the local promoter guy who owns Woolies, and I think he might have sold Woolies, but he runs Hinterland and all that. Yeah. He bought Val Air, and he promised he was revamping it and going to be bringing some cool acts. And
holy
fucking Jack
fuck,
White,
dude.
Yeah,
way to go, Sam.
Knocked it out of the park.
Sam.
Yeah,
no shit, dude.
Unbelievable.
And hopefully, the people of West Des Moines, the kind neighbors to the Val Air Ballroom, will invest in earplugs and kindly fuck off if you don't like the noise.
Yeah. For one, it's once in a while. It's not like they're doing shows every single night there. Get over it.
Yeah.
You bought a house next to a ballroom that's been there for like 60 years or longer. Fucks. Yeah. What's the matter with you?
But it wasn't that loud before they brought in the bass.
Well, they fucking invented speakers since you bought that house, okay?
Listen, I welcome the Val Air coming back.
Absolutely.
Fucking love the Valor coming back. That's amazing.
And then on top
Thank
of
you,
that,
Sam.
yeah, thank you very much, Sam Summers.
Mhm.
Other new music, they just announced ZZ Top is coming to the Iowa State Fair this year. I think they were the last ones to be announced, so it's a big deal.
Oh, there's Texas town.
That's right. Along with Alanis Morissette is coming as well. Did you see that?
Yes, and so that I got a couple friends. So a friend of the show, Rick Yoder, bought sets of tickets to that show, and I almost bought some too because that's actually a pushback from her it must have been the 25th anniversary of Jagged Little Pill tour.
Oh no, is it sold out already?
I don't know if it's sold out already or not, but if it's not, fucking get tickets.
Yeah, I kind of want to
because-
go.
Yeah, because that record is so good, dude. We haven't hit it on the list yet. I don't think we're gonna hit that until top 100.
I was about to say that it's gonna be top 100.
Yeah.
Are you gonna go to Alanis Morissette?
So that's the thing. I was looking at the calendar, and I think it's the Monday after Alpine.
Oh yeah.
And so then I got into this whole debate of, am I gonna be in Iowa for Alpine? Am I not gonna be in Iowa for Alpine? Because that's like my sister has talked about potentially going to her first show at Alpine, and so
Oh wow.
I know, dude. It's so hard, but the week before that is when my daughter starts school in Texas, and so it's
It's a tricky one for you.
fucking life of a West Side gambler, yo.
We're gonna see how things shake out.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're gonna let
Because-
it shake out, let the chips fall where they may.
Because the nice thing is that the 10% inflation that this country is facing can fuck off when it comes to a concert that I want to go to.
Mm-hmm.
I say inflation doesn't matter for concerts.
I agree. You mean you're not concerned about the higher price of the ticket?
I mean, I'm gonna fucking pay whatever I gotta pay. Like, I'm an addict, and
I refuse to pay 10% more. So I mean, I guess I'm not going to any concerts from now on. I'm swearing off live music.
Listen, I do. If somebody that I don't know that understands how a blockchain works that listens to this podcast, please reach out to me. Because
Someone tell us what a blockchain is. We don't know.
I feel like the world is just waiting for a new startup that fucks Live Nation right in the ass by doing ticket sales via a blockchain that tracks who's buying and who's selling all these tickets to prevent fucking Live Nation and all these promotion companies from only releasing 5% of tickets to on public sales, while all the rest of these fucking tickets go to brokers and producers that just fucking sell them on StubHub.
Business idea.
Yeah. So come on.
Let's collaborate.
Let's get into biz, yo.
Who knows how to run a
Who
blockchain?
knows how to run a blockchain?
Hit us up. Yeah.
motherfucker?
Hit us up at thislistsucks@gmail.com.
We should bring a 12-pack of White Claw because we think better after we've had some drink.
We gotta have a few. We gotta have that fuel. That's right. We're not gonna have any good ideas for that. I mean, it took this many White Claws for that idea to even happen.
Let's do this podcast, brother.
Oh yeah, we're recording, aren't we?
I know.
Sorry,
We're
guys.
sorry, everybody. We're having fun though. Hopefully you are too.
Okay. Well, again,
You're number one this week.
yes, I am. And let's
I'm the number
recap.
two.
Let's recap for those wandering in, blind, deaf, and dumb here.
Oh, you dumb motherfuckers. We're at 220.
We're at 220. We're going through the list of 500. Wait, what? Rolling Stones. I forgot how to speak. Rolling Stone magazine and website and general publications list of the 500 greatest albums of all time. And we've made it all the way to number 220, believe it or not.
Dude,
More
we've
than
almost
halfway.
listened to 300 records multiple times.
Almost. And something we forgot to do, which you mentioned earlier
Yes.
today, is usually at the end of every 25, we've been going back and picking our favorites, and we didn't do that. So we will do that today,
We're gonna catch
225 through 250.
And we're also coming precariously close to our next bottle of champagne, which 200, we got 2 more to go. So this is going to be a good bottle, dude. I
It's
think
going to be
we're
a
gonna do-
decent bottle.
I
Yeah.
think we're going to do some boob this time.
Is that what we decided on?
Yeah.
And then Dom, and then Cristal.
And then the Cristal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Deal.
Fucking badass, dude.
That's right.
So we're coming precariously close to that. We're only a few shows away.
3 shows after today.
Yeah. And the bangers keep on coming.
Yes.
Speaking of which,
Speaking of bangers, 220, we have Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young. Don't forget Mr.
Uh-huh.
Young. Deja Vu is the album from 1970. Neil Young was just getting his solo career underway when he joined his old Buffalo Springfield bandmate Stephen Stills' ex-Bird David Crosby. That's BYRD.
Ooh.
And former Holly Graham Nash in the first of former Holly Graham Nash in the first of the West Coast supergroups. Young's vision and guitar transformed the earlier folk rock Crosby, Stills, and Nash into a rock and roll powerhouse. The Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young combination was too volatile to last, but on their best album, they offered pop idealism, as heard in Nash's Teach Your Children, militant blues, and Crosby's Almost Cut My Hair, and vocal choir gallop in Stills' Carry On. Notably, they don't mention a single Neil Young song,
I know.
of which there were a couple written for this album.
Honestly, like one of Neil Young's most popular songs, like "Helpless."
Yeah, yeah.
"Helpless" is a huge banger. To
So
me, it's
simple.
a standout. You know what I mean? And it is so simple, but it's so beautiful.
It is gorgeous. That's what like I literally wrote simplicity done like really well. Something like that. Gorgeous vocals on that one. I mean, if we're gonna jump right into talking about that song, that's a
Yeah.
great song. I mean, yeah, it's 3 chords the entire time. I think it's even the same chords between the verse and the chorus. It's one of those songs that's just like, let's lay down 3 chords and just sing some shit.
The harmonies on that song, and
On
let's
the
be
chorus.
let's be super clear. This fucking record is, I mean, to me, it's the gold standard in 3 and 4 part harmonies, which are just like littered throughout this whole fucking thing. And "Helpless" is, I mean, that's like, this record is very much like Rage Against the Machine for me. It's almost criminally low. Like, it's laden with 5 stars.
Yeah.
And that's one of them. Like, that's a huge song.
Yeah, yeah. I have a lot of. I mean, I don't have that many 5 stars, but I have a lot of stars, and I feel like some of them I probably could have given 5 stars, but almost every song has more than 2 stars. You know, every song has 3 or more stars.
This is how big of a homer. This is how big of a homer I am with this record, because I discovered this record probably like 8 years after I discovered the Beatles, and I was really late to the Beatles. Like, I didn't start listening to the Beatles until I was 22, 23.
Jeez.
Because I always thought about the Beatles as like the "I Want to Hold Your Hand" Beatles.
Yeah.
I didn't
The
realize
twist and shout Beatles.
Yeah, and I fucking hate, and I still hate the poppy Beatles. Like, it's not.
I like "I Want to Hold Your Hand." I'm just gonna say it.
I mean, and I respect
hold my hand,
that.
that's fine.
No, I mean, I don't want to hold your hand, but but it's mostly because of the fucking song. It would make me think of the song. So I discovered this, I mean, probably within 5 years of me like really turning on to the drugged out Beatles. And so this record is this is it for me. Like, "Carry On," 5 stars, "Teach Your Children," 5 stars, "Almost Cut My Hair," 5 stars, "Helpless," 5, "Woodstock," 5, "Deja Vu," 5, "Our House," 5.
Yeah, as
And
far
then
as
the
my
last
5
3 songs are all 3 stars for me.
as far as my 5 stars, honestly, it's "Teach Your Children," Woodstock, and then "Our House." That's all I have 5 stars on. But like I said, the rest are 3+.
Okay, so here's my jam. I don't dislike that, because to me, like, the ones that you put 5 stars next to are easily the most iconic songs. The most important of which to me there is "Woodstock." Like,
Or "Teach Your Children." It's hard to say.
Or "Teach Your Children," or even "Our House." Like, that fucking song is
Fuck,
so
yeah.
right? Like, you could pick any one of those, and between the harmonies and just between like the cultural significance that those songs have taken on,
Yeah.
right? How many fucking commercials have we heard
Our House. That's
in?
true. Pretty commercialized.
But
But it works every time.
every
I'm gonna
time.
buy that fucking thing.
Whatever it is, because if it's gonna make my house like our
Feel like
house,
that,
I'm
yeah.
fucking in.
with 2 cats in the yard.
Yes,
Yeah.
dude, I'm fucking in, because I want my house to be our house.
Exactly. Yeah. I agree with you.
It's
100%.
beautiful and it's peaceful and it's just
Gorgeous vocals.
it's so
Earlier you
pretty.
said like the gold standard for vocals, which
Yeah.
I feel like, even as much of a compliment as that is, it's almost like underrepresented, because like these guys, they're just like there's amazing 4-part harmonies, and then there's Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young harmonies. They're like their own fucking brand of
Okay.
harmonies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
like they're so unmistakable. Like
Yes.
you could never hear this group of guys singing and think it's anybody else. Just the richness and like the layers that they managed to put with only 4 voices, like it's just so iconic.
It feels like just the tenor of each one of those voices, when you strip them apart by themselves, they're fine, right? And you might even argue that Neil Young is not fine, that he's not really that good, you know, by himself, because that's a huge knock against Neil Young, right? Like there's plenty of people that fucking hate Neil Young's voice.
He definitely has, yeah, I mean, like a contentious like quality to his voice. Like you either like it or you don't. You know?
Yeah, you know, but somehow, like when you mix all 4 of these together, to me, it's very much the sum is way greater than
because
the
everyone's
individual
voice
parts.
is sitting in their right frequency range. You know,
Yeah, it just sounds correct.
Yeah.
Right. So how many stars did you put next to Almost Cut My Hair?
3.
What was your knock on that? What prevented you from recognizing
It just didn't stick out as much. I mean, it's like a simple song, and that's why I rated it about the same I did Helpless, you know, which I loved Helpless, you know, just a straight up rocker. It's like a 3-chord rocker. I don't know if I loved Crosby's vocals that much solo.
Okay.
You
No,
know?
that's good. That's fair.
But also there's some fun guitar jamming. I mean, to me, it was just like, yeah, I mean, it's a good song, and that's why I gave it, you know, the stars that I did. But
what's funny about
blow me away.
What's funny about your comments to me is that, you know, Rolling Stone talked about the volatility of this group, right? And they were just so volatile that they couldn't stay together.
Yeah.
So this song was part of that, right? Like, I'm pretty sure it was Stephen Stills was fucking furious at those vocals that David Crosby recorded.
You just didn't like him?
He fucking hated them.
Really?
He thought they sounded like trash. He thought that they needed to be re-recorded. And David Crosby was like, fuck you. Like, that's the one that I want.
There you go.
And it's funny because I can understand how somebody would listen to those vocals and be like, it was all right, wasn't special. To me, like, the rawness that you get in that vocal performance is what makes that song so special.
Yeah, and it's not that they ruined it for me. I was just trying to find, like, it's not that like there's any one thing that I can point to that's like, oh, that's why I didn't give it 5 stars. It just didn't like blow me out of the water the way like most 5-star songs do.
That's fair.
That I give, you know, for me personally, which is what the fuck do I know, you know?
No, I mean, listen, your opinion is fucking every bit, if not more valid than mine. But this is one of those records that I've listened to it so many times that every song when it comes on, I'm just like, yes.
Yeah.
Like I just sit back and each one plays differently, right? Because Teach Your Children is all about those harmonies. And
yeah.
It's those harmonies that you know and that you love and that are
They're
unmistakable.
So good. You know who played pedal steel on that song?
Jerry
Garcia.
Jerry. We'll talk about Jerry more next
fingers
week.
in every little pot.
Yeah, he does. But that was also really, really cool about this, because did you know that these guys were living on Pigpen's Ranch?
No, I didn't know that.
Yes.
They're like living out on his property?
Literally.
Were they like camping?
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah. So at the same time that the Dead were basically working on and putting together Working Man's Dead and American Beauty, which we're going to talk about next week, that's when this album came out. All of these fucking guys were hanging around together. That's why Jerry recorded Pedal Steel. That's why you get 3-part harmonies on Working Man's Dead and on American Beauty, is because those guys were
influenced by
with these guys.
Nice.
And
I didn't know that.
Dude, listen to all 3 of those records. Listen to Working Man's Dead, listen to Deja Vu, and then listen to American Beauty. And it's a fucking symphony of magical, universal, fucking musical.
It all came together.
Wow.
Yes.
It's like the greatest music ever.
Yeah.
I fucking love this.
Yeah.
Love it.
I definitely have more stars on American Beauty. I'll tell you that, because I've already done that for the next week. How about you?
I have to, and I'd have to do a star count. It's going to be really, really close. But again, like, I've already spilled the beans, right? I don't get to a non-5-star song
until the very end.
until 420.
What'd you think about 420?
I put 2 stars next to it. It was my least favorite of the whole record.
I put 3 next to it. Cool acoustic fingerstyle stuff. Country Girl is fun. Country Girl's a epic tune.
Yeah, it's
That's like the big Neil Young contribution outside of Helpless.
outside of Helpless.
Yeah. I
And
love
the
that
guitar
one.
work.
Big chorus on that. I mean, tons of vocals.
Yeah.
Those harmonies are perfect in it.
How many stars did you put next to that?
4 on Country Girl.
Okay, I struggled with whether I did 3 or 4, but I was already so egregious with my starring through the
You're
rest
like,
of the
I've written
record.
enough stars.
Yes, I felt like I
You need
had
to
to
calm
temper
down.
myself, so I put 3 next to that. But then the funniest part about that is "Everybody I Love You," the last song on the record. Which did you put? What did you put next to that?
I put 4 next to it, dude. I loved it.
Okay, that's funny that you did that because
What'd you put?
I put 3, but I almost put 4 next to it, and the whole reason why is because this record to me, outside of a couple of songs on this record, there's this very cohesive kind of late summer of love feel to this record that it's I don't know, it's like this really pure hippieism
Yeah,
that's not jaded, if that makes sense. And
definitely not. Yeah,
and-
it's still like got that youthful exuberance.
yeah, and Woodstock, and then Everybody I Love You, which I believe are bookending sides of the LP.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You know, and they both do the same thing. Like they present this beautiful imagery about the power of like-mindedness, and when you get people together, and when you create community, and they both do that same thing.
Yeah.
And Woodstock is a Joni Mitchell song, which I didn't realize until like I was, digging around for this podcast. But her fucking imagery for a person that wasn't even there.
Yeah.
She fucking nailed it though, dude. Like some of those lyrics are so poetically beautiful.
That's her FOMO song.
And they
She's like,
scream Woodstock.
I was there. I was
too.
at Woodstock. I mean, I fucking wrote a song about it. What are you talking about?
You weren't even there, lady.
Yeah, it's a great song. I love that song.
But Everybody I Love You, the messaging and the lyrics of that song are so fucking great, dude.
Yeah, and you get those. It's just a perfect like closer for the album. Yeah.
It's flawless.
Yep. You get the big chorus with all them all singing together. Everybody, I love you. Yeah.
So, okay. So I love this. You love this. What do you think about the number on it? And do you own this on vinyl by the chance?
I do not. Do you?
Yes.
Did you just get it or have you had it?
No, I've had it.
Nice.
This is one that I found out in California in the vintage stacks.
Nice.
It's super cool too because it's like a club version, right? So think, and actually this is probably before your time, but like the BMG music clubs. Did you ever do those things?
No idea what you're talking about.
Okay, so like when I was a little kid, there was this scam where it was like buy 1 CD and we'll send you 12 for free. As long as you commit to buying like 5 more CDs at full price over the course of the next 18 months or some bullshit. So it was CDs when I was a little kid, but that same thing started with records. And so the copy of Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young that I have is like a club version of the record. And so on the outside of the slipcover, it's like faux leather.
Whoa. Do you have any idea what year it's from?
Probably like 1974, maybe 1976.
Very cool.
It's definitely a repress, you know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
of the influential nature of the album, but still. Fun.
Yeah. I need to get it for sure. I would love it.
Yeah.
It was 148 in the 2003 list. I think it should be closer to that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. I'm not saying I want it to be top 50 or anything, but I think, between 100 and 150 is a good spot.
For me, my gut, whenever I first saw this, was it's 100 too low. That was my
100
gut.
too low.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I saw that the initial print that came out was 143 back in 03, and I thought, okay, I wouldn't haggle, between 120 and 143. Like, all right. I guess.
Yeah. Right.
I'm not gonna be too pissed about it. But I am pretty pissed about it at this.
This is too low.
listen.
This is definitely too low.
Yeah.
Undoubtedly. So yeah, we're in agreement. Move it up.
Mm-hmm.
But fucking around, Rolling Stone.
Dickheads. All right.
move on. I'm checking to see if we have a Rex email. Doesn't look like it. Well, hold on. Maybe we do.
Wait for it.
Oh no, it's bad news.
No.
He says, "Missing you guys. Sorry, I've been missing from the commentary. I did have my thoughts saved for the week, but apparently my hard drive decided to die. When it rains, it pours. Miss you, assholes." Rex.
Oh.
So we'll be hearing from Rex soon, I'm sure, and we'll
Big
get back
hugs,
on track.
Rexy.
Yep.
Big hugs, buddy. Okay, so let's talk about number 219 from 1995, Raekwon's album "Only Built for Cuban Links." Rolling Stone says the finest Wu-Tang solo joint stands out due to Raekwon's understated, eternally unflustered, cool, and densely woven verses. Abetted by hyperactive sidemen Ghostface and hypnotically stark beats courtesy of the RZA, Raekwon crafts breathtaking drug rap narratives. On Knowledge God, an Italian drug dealer with a hairy chest and many minks meets his colorful demise in just 6 words: 16 shots in his fish tank. It's the rare hip-hop album that rivals the mob movies it celebrates for gripping detail.
Yeah.
And you had no familiarity.
Correct.
with
None.
Only Built for Cuban Links.
None with, a lot of these Wu-Tang ones. Like when I was first of all, it's kind of before, I wasn't listening to this kind of stuff when I was 4 years old.
Are you sure?
Although I did have a lot of friends in high school that were really into Wu-Tang, so it was around, but I never really was that wasn't the kind of, I wasn't like really obsessed with hip hop when I was in high school at all.
Yeah.
I was obsessed with like guitar music because that's when I started to get really into guitar.
Yeah.
So it was around, but definitely not intimately familiar with it. So a lot of this Wu-Tang stuff was kind of new to me in terms of really thinking about it.
Yeah.
I loved it. I love the theatricality of all these albums. I love how they like to tie like a theme into it, like whether it's Ghostface with
Kung
Iron
Fu,
Man or
Iron
Kung
Man.
Fu with Liquid Swords, and
Yep.
that what you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Or mob, like mafia shit with
The Scarface, right?
yeah,
Like the
mhm.
Scarface kind of drug dealer, drug aficionado thing is just right throughout Only Built for Cuban Links.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty much what it is.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of fun stuff on here. I will say, just right off the bat, there were times throughout where I was like, maybe I like Liquid Swords more, and I was kind of struggling with it throughout. But then there were times that you would just get like a verse from Raekwon and you were just like, damn, okay, I see why he's like in the top. But still, honestly, I'm not 100% decided. Like, definitely, I like Liquid Swords, and I'm putting them all kind of in the same. I like Liquid Swords and this one. I would put these higher than the Ghostface one that we did for sure.
Clientele.
Yes, but I'm undecided between Liquid Swords and Cuban Links. I take it you're full of Cuban Links.
Yeah.
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 So what is it,
Raekwon.
as someone who's definitely more familiar, what is the difference? Like what puts this one above Liquid Swords for you?
So a couple of things. For one, like Liquid Swords was an extension of 36 Chambers in my mind,
Mhm.
in a lot of ways. And so it wasn't necessarily doing anything new. When this came out, like nobody used aliases. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, so when they talk about Method Man, Johnny Blaze, like the Chef, Iron Man, Ghostface, right? Like, there's even a song, right? Like the song Wu Gambinos. Like that whole song,
Hidden Chambers remix.
Yeah, that whole song is just about taking on these aliases, and also just the notion of nobody rapped about the drug game like the Chef did, and tying it back into Scarface in particular was something that just after this album did it, fucking everybody in hip hop all of a sudden was like, oh fuck yeah, Tony Montana.
Scarface is cool. Yeah.
Fucking Tony Montana, like that guy. Yeah, fucking Tony Montana ran shit. I want to be Tony Montana.
We've been saying that the whole time.
Yeah, and so from that standpoint, also the highlights here are way higher than the highlights on Liquid Swords too. And so
let's talk about highlights.
Yeah, so for me, Criminology, Like that's the biggest banger to start off with. And that fucking sample from Scarface at the beginning of that song is so ridiculous. But it also comes out of Knuckleheads and Knowledge God, which are both fantastic fucking tracks. I put 3 stars on both of those.
I did. I put 3 on both of those too, and I put 4 on Criminology.
Yeah, so I put 5 on Criminology, but then Criminology runs right into Incarcerated Scarfaces, which is fucking a ripping track. And I
Is
got
that the one with all the Trump references?
Trump references.
Doesn't he make multiple references to Donald Trump or something? I feel like I remember. I'm gonna pull up the lyrics because maybe
Yeah,
I'm
you gotta
making
look at
this
the
up.
lyrics on
Yeah.
that. Guillotine Swords, another 4 stars. Can It All Be So Simple? That's a remix from a track on 36 Chambers that we'll get to in, I don't know, a couple hundred albums, hopefully. But then the biggest banger of all to me, in addition to Wu Gambino's, which I have 4 stars next to, but one of my favorite songs right next to Criminology is Ice Cream at the end of the
That's by far my favorite as well.
Fucking
That was my
Ice Cream
my
works.
5-star one,
so hard.
and that has a lot of the Wu-Tang guys on there.
So my son Mikey, who honestly we should have brought Mikey on for this because Mikey is the epitome of Wu-Tang like fanboy at this point. Like he has explored every possible channel that the Wu-Tang has created multiple times over. And it's funny because he and I got into a debate, the same debate that you had. Liquid Swords versus Only Built for Cuban Links.
Which side is he on?
So 3 months ago, when we started this debate, he was fully encamped in Liquid Swords, and there was no changing his mind because he was just not going to give up on that. But in as recently as the last time that I was in Texas, he and I had the conversation once again, and he has now changed teams.
Interesting.
He's now Only Built for Cuban Links, and a lot of it is that influence that I discussed to a certain extent, but also, he makes mention to, now I'm trying to remember what he called it. I think he calls it like a crew mix or a crew track or something like, man, fuck. I should send him. I don't know that he'd be awake right now to actually reply to me, but he called it like a crew track or something like that, where basically when you get a whole squad, a posse cut. That's what he called it. Yeah, so in his mind, Ice Cream Man is one of the greatest, if not the greatest, posse cuts of all time.
That word makes sense too. That term.
Yeah.
But back to Incarcerated Scarface, there are multiple Trump references in that.
Are there really?
Yeah, he says, "Raise a heavy generator, but yo, guess who's the Black Trump?" And then later on, he says, "Can't stand unofficial, wet tissue, blank busting scud missiles. You rolling like Trump, you get your meat lumped." Whatever that means, I don't even know. But
Trump was a baller back then.
He was, yeah. I remember. Yeah, it was.
If only Raekwon had known what Trump was going to become.
Oh, geez, yeah. Yeah. I mean, in terms of highlights, though, Ice Cream for me, Ice Cream for sure was definitely the top. I loved Wu Gambino's.
Yep.
I loved Guillotine earlier in the album. Those are probably the biggest highlights for me, along with Criminology, of course.
Yeah.
And Incarcerated Scarfaces.
Now, what if I have criticism for this album? It's super fucking long.
I feel like a lot of the hip hop records that are on this list are really long.
Yeah.
Almost unnecessarily so, maybe.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be shy about saying that this album could do with some editing. You know what I mean? I love it. And I'll never not love it. But at the same time, Ice Water, not a great beat for me. I mean, it's not a bad track. I mean, I put a star next to it, but it's just not nearly as good. Now, you do get some better tracks in the middle. Glaciers of Ice, like that's a 3-star song for me. Like really fucking killer beat, good hooks and good bars throughout it. And then right after that, Verbal Intercourse is actually one that I put 4 stars next to. It's a fucking really, really killer track. Really fucking killer track.
What was the guitar sample on Glaciers of Ice? Do you have any idea? Did you write anything down about that?
No.
It was like driving me crazy because it's reminding me of something I couldn't figure it out. I wrote down maybe it was like reminding me of a Biggie song. What's that Biggie song with the big guitar sample? Sicker than your average. Like, what's that one? The little guitar slide thing at the beginning.
I have no clue. Did you Google it?
The Biggie song?
No, Glacier Delight.
No, I didn't Google it.
I'm
Actually,
just kind of curious because that's the one thing. Like a lot of these Wu-Tang songs have been around for so long that a lot of people have gone out and they've already they've already dug up a lot of these samples and everything. So that's why I was curious.
contains samples of. It's got a Booker T and the MGs sample. That could very well be
I
that.
bet you that's it.
Could be that, or it could be "Bless You Life" by KGB. I guess. There's 7 songs that it samples, so it's hard to say what it would be exactly.
Yes.
Probably it's the Booker T one though.
I'll bet you it is. That would be, yeah. At any rate, I don't know that we get another Wu-Tang until we get 36 Chambers.
What else is there?
Fucking.
36 Chambers, and is there anything else?
I mean, yeah, there's tons. We didn't get Return to the 36 Chambers, the Brooklyn Zoo from ODB.
So
And
we
that's
won't, right?
No, I don't think we do at this point because Raekwon is definitely a stronger record than that. Method Man's first solo debut, Take How. Like, I'm a little bit surprised that we didn't encounter Take How in here. We fucking had Juvenile on this list.
There's no way Method Man is going to be above this.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, that would be surprising.
It would be. I mean, it'd be really, really surprising.
36 Chambers top 100, do you think?
Yeah. Top 50, top 25.
At this point, do you think that the highest hip hop record on this list is going to be Biggie?
No. Listen,
You already know.
Yeah, you can't start asking me these questions because a couple of weeks ago we were sitting around with my wife. I love my wife. The day is long. But we started to get into a debate about what was going to be the highest ranked hip hop album on the list.
Oh.
And so she looked that up, spoiled it. That's fine. But then she went ahead and proceeded to spoil like a lot of the top 50 when it came to hip hop.
Gotcha.
And there is, I'll just say this. There's a fucking alarming amount of hip hop
in the top 50.
In the top 50 greatest albums.
Is Marshall Mathers LP in the top 50?
I don't think so because she didn't get there. And I think she spoiled through like 38 for me. There's quite a lot. Well, and she spoiled Wu-Tang for me.
Is it top 50?
Do you want to know where it is?
Just 36 Chambers. Where's that?
28.
That's got to be the highest one then.
No, fuck no. It's no. There's multiple. Wow. There's multiple hip hop albums between 28 and the highest ranked hip hop album, which comes in at number 10.
Jesus.
And there's a 0% chance on the fucking face of this planet that you would know what the highest ranked hip hop album is. No offense. No offense, but I mean, like, I know you well.
No offense taken.
A 0% fucking chance you'd guess.
Would you have guessed it?
I wasn't surprised. I wouldn't have guessed it first.
I'm gonna have you tell me when we finish.
But I wasn't surprised.
Don't tell me on air.
Yeah, no, we don't have to spoil it on the air. But I'll tell you everything I know if you want to know everything. And I don't remember everything that she told me, but I do remember
the big ones.
I remember a biggie. Yeah, I remember Ready to Die, actually.
There's got to be two biggies, right? Both.
We're going to get Life After Death and
Ready to Die. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
okay.
I just don't know when.
Any other thoughts on Only Built for Cuban Links before we move on?
In terms of my thoughts on the placement, I'm actually okay with it where it's at because again, I'm probably not okay with it relative to other hip hop. You know, like there's no fucking way this album appears below any Drake record. We'll talk more about that later.
Jesus.
But at the same time, I want to be realistic about where I would place this record. And I'm perfectly comfortable with it being at, 219.
Yeah.
Because that's a ridiculous statement to make. This is the
219th best album of all time. Yeah. I get what you're saying.
That's a ton of fucking accolade.
Yeah.
And I'm perfectly
That's amazing already. I think I'm comfortable with it too. Although I think I wanted to see Liquid Swords closer because I feel like I remember liking Liquid Swords close to as much of this, if not more, based on the listens that I have done.
Okay.
And I just feel like it should be. I mean, if you're gonna put this high, then that should be this to be because that was like 75 albums ago or something.
I think it was more than that. I think it
Yeah.
was closer to like 3. There was like 370.
So yeah, it was well over 100 then. Yeah. Which just seems kind of like a crazy. Like, why the disparity? I'm not sure that I fully grasp it.
And I don't hate that as long as you want to see Liquid Swords get closer to this.
I'm
and
not
the other
necessarily.
way
Yeah,
around.
yeah. I think I could see that.
Because I'm down with that too. I love Liquid Swords. This one is just more dynamic in what they're doing thematically.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
You know, and it was also far more influential too.
Yeah.
Because again, the number of like Scarface copycats that came
That
out
popped up right
after
afterwards.
this, it was crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Cool. Well, in agreement pretty much on that one.
Yeah.
Should we move on?
Let's
Let's do it. Ooh, 218. We have
Maybe we
TLC.
chase him
You want to do it? You're not supposed to go doing that though. You're not supposed to go doing
I've
that.
heard that's a bad idea.
No. TLC, Crazy Sexy Cool from 1994. Things were not well with TLC during the making of Crazy Sexy Cool. Lisa Left Eye Lopez was lighting fires, and the group was in a financial slide that would end in bankruptcy proceedings. Which is amazing because how many albums did they sell?
Of their debut.
I remember you said some number last time that you were conflating with a different album.
That's okay. So that's this record.
Yeah.
And this is only their sophomore release. So they had only released one record before this, and it was their debut. And it was popular. It wasn't a bad selling record, but it wasn't this.
But after this, they ended up in bankruptcy, right?
No. It says things are not well with TLC during the making of Crazy Sexy Cool. Lisa Left Eye Lopez was lighting fires, and the group was in a financial slide that would end in bankruptcy.
Gotcha.
So, I mean,
they don't really specify.
Yeah, they don't really specify time frames, but I'd have a hard time believing that after this fucking
that they could manage to go bankrupt.
Yeah. I mean, good luck, ladies. You can give that fucker a shot.
I feel like I remember you saying something like 17 million copies or something like that.
I think
Some
it's 16.9.
outrageous number.
Yeah, I'm looking at that because it's fucking ridiculous.
But they emerged with the most effervescent and soulful R&B pop anyone had heard since the Supremes. Creep is hard-edged but cute. The summary Digging on You is almost pastoral in its intimate flow, and the transcendent Waterfalls may be the greatest song ever about how it's not a great idea to go after your dreams. Maybe the only song ever.
It was fucking dark, dude.
It was, yeah.
It is fucking dark.
Did you find out?
I'm getting
I'm just gonna be silent until you get there.
there. Okay. 12 times platinum, 8.9 million copies sold in the United States, worldwide 15 million.
15 million.
And this is, I think it's the third highest selling album by a woman or by like women groups of all time, something like that. No, it's not that high. I'm a fucking liar. There you go.
What is the highest selling women's group album of all time?
Two young ladies. One of them we've already talked about. Actually, both of them we've already talked about.
Destiny's Child.
Whitney Houston, The Bodyguard soundtrack, 45 million copies.
What's next?
Shania Twain.
Shania Twain, huh?
Come on over, which we talked about on this list. Fucking 40 million copies of that album sold worldwide.
It's outrageous.
That's fucking insane, dude. That's totally crazy. Okay, but let's talk about TLC because I think that this is an interesting record to put at this place on the list. Listen, the hits on this record are really fucking good. I do love Waterfalls. It's a great song. I love Creep. Creep is probably my favorite song.
I feel like I didn't have like super high expectations when I saw this because I mean I knew Waterfalls, but that was about it. But I loved a lot of this, dude. Like
Did you really?
This is pretty heavily starred stuff going on here. This is great pop. I mean,
give me what you got.
so I love Creep.
Mhm.
Kick Your Game, I had 3 stars next to. I mean, there were a lot of 3 and 4 star tunes. Digging on You, I had was a 4-star tune for me.
Jesus.
I really liked it. Yeah.
Wow.
Jazzy chord progression on that was really, really cool. Just really good hooks.
I
Like,
love
really,
the
really
hook.
good.
The hook on Digging on You was really fun.
Case of the Fake
It's a
People,
super
I
fun
gave
one.
3 stars to. Loved it.
Ooh.
Waterfalls is an obvious 5-star.
Yeah.
You know, that's a fantastic fucking song.
What did you think about Red Light Special?
Red Light Special. Where's that? I gave that 2.
Really?
Yeah.
Hmm.
How many did you give it?
I give it 3. I love Red Light Special.
That song is straight up about her vagina.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, like on this, so the very first TLC record, like it was really cute. Like that was the whole
And this
idea,
was
right?
way more like sexualized.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
hypersexualized.
I
in
mean,
a lot
that's
of ways.
most of what it's about.
Yeah. But it works.
It definitely, dude.
It
Yeah.
works so well.
They're not ashamed, and you're definitely not going to fault them for it. I mean, yeah, it works great. Let's Do It Again. I liked that one a lot. It's almost like Isley Brothers esque.
Yeah, it's like a steamy slow jam.
And I loved the ones at the end, the last 2 songs. I loved Switch, and I loved Something Wicked This Way Comes.
Okay, I did too. I put 3 stars next to both of those songs.
I put 4 next to both of them.
I mean, I wasn't being super judicious on this, and I don't know why I was being. I mean, I don't feel like I was being any harder than anything else, you know. But at the end of the day, a lot of the songs that you like Case of Fake People, only put 1 star next to. Let's Do It Again, 1 star. If I Was Your Girlfriend, 1 star. I did like Take Our Time a lot. Like I put 3 stars next to that.
See, I didn't even put any.
Really?
It's weird that we didn't. That we had
It
that,
is
you know?
weird, yeah. There's like huge bifurcations in our taste when it comes to like pop
To
music.
TLC,
like
I
this.
guess.
But I did put 3 stars next to Switch and Something Wicked This Way Comes. I fucking love Andre 3000. Like that dude can do.
Yeah, he was on Something
no
Wicked This
wrong.
Way Comes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the whole jam at the end of Switch. They're like, erase, replace, embrace, new face. Dude, there's like whoever's the rapper of the group. I don't know who it is. but-
Lisa.
okay. Nicki Minaj, right? I mean, it's like the same thing. It's like when you listen to a later like Nicki Minaj verse, it's like obviously she just stole her style straight from Lisa, and I like that style. You know,
So did you notice that Lisa only appears on like 3 songs on this whole fucking record?
because she was like drunk the whole time, right?
No. She was in like jail or in court the whole
Yeah.
time.
She was like a severe alcoholic, right? I remember reading that she was having like issues with that.
She had alcohol issues, but she also had like serious court issues because she had gotten pissed at her like husband boyfriend, who was Andre Bad Moon Rison, who was a wide receiver for the Atlanta Falcons. She fucking lit his shoe on fire in their bathroom, and it burned down their entire fucking mansion.
Oh,
And she got charged with arson. And so she
As she
was
should have.
battling arson charges while they were recording this, and that's why you don't hear her.
okay.
She's literally only on 3 fucking songs.
Well, she
This
sounds
whole
like
cut.
Nicki Minaj, don't you think?
I do. I can see where you get that. I think Nicki has like a fuller tenor to her voice. You know,
Yeah,
'cause
but I
Lisa
mean the
Left Eye
style
Lopez was
wise.
a really small, like she was a little person. She was a tiny little thing.
It'd be funny to watch her start light a fire
watch.
on her husband's
Burn
shoe.
down your motherfucking house, you son of a bitch.
What do you think about the placement of this relative? I mean, I guess Whitney's not a good example, but even Madonna, right? Like we had Madonna last week.
And we definitely have some Madonna that's higher than this, right?
Yeah.
It's hard, man. I mean, just like I said, Nicki Minaj, there's a number of other people I could point to that I would say are, directly influenced by this group. I feel like this group needs represented in the top half of this list, probably, just in terms of the influence that they had and the album sales that they had. Granted, this is not my normal, style of music necessarily, but I think this is like a top half album or at least north of 300. So I'm not like super upset about it,
It has to be because of the album sales, right?
Album sales and influence, yeah, which I mean kind of go hand in hand, I'm sure, a little bit to some extent.
I mean, I don't listen to TLC and think to myself, oh, okay. Without TLC, there's no Like I can't fill in that blank. And you're doing that with Lisa and Nicki Minaj.
Destiny's Child. You don't think so? I mean, I think that maybe they wouldn't be the same.
No, I totally refute Destiny's Child because Destiny's Child to me was an In Vogue type of band, right? Like that was like a new, I don't know what you'd call it. Like I can't remember what they called In Vogue. They called them like Nouveau Soul or some shit like that. And TLC was different than that, right? Because Lisa wasn't a singer.
Yeah.
Lisa was a rapper. That's all she did. Like when she came in,
Well, maybe that's
She
one
spit
of the
bars.
arguments for this is that there's not a whole lot of other bands like it
listen, I don't think there was any other girl band
that was like this.
that was even like this.
Yeah.
Because there was no girl band that was intentionally put together where they had a rapper plus like harmony singers.
Yeah.
You know, nobody did that. So that's fine. I mean, that's fine. I'm all right with it.
Yeah. Were you ready? You want to drop it down quite a bit?
No, I mean, I don't want to drop it down quite a bit, but there's also a part of me that I kind of hate saying that a record needs to be on this list because it sold so many copies.
Yeah. Well, that's not
Because
really
how-
what I was saying more because of the influence, not necessarily. I mean, I just kind of threw it out as a support, you know?
Well, but honestly, I think that's why this record is on this list so high.
Do you think that's why it's this high?
Yeah.
Because of the copies.
And it's not because like when people were filling out their surveys for Rolling Stone, they were like, "Yo, how many records did that sell?" Okay, we definitely got to put that down. It's because everybody knows
It was on
this.
their radars.
Yeah, everybody knows Waterfalls. Everybody.
Which Waterfalls, I mean, that's an incredible song.
It is. But my rub is that when you get away from like the massive, massive radio hits on this record, I think it gets really weak.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, the problem is like you didn't feel that way.
Well, but the thing is, like, the songs that I said, but then a lot of the other songs, I mean, I have several songs with no stars. You know what I mean?
yeah.
The ones that I mentioned, I did like a lot, but then there were several that had one or none. So,
Yeah. And again, like that's what I circle back to. But to me, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it where it's at, and I understand where it's at because the peaks are really, really high peaks. And
Yeah,
they were
Waterfalls.
culturally massively culturally significant.
for sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I like that description.
All right. I'm going to send a message to Mr. Lee Standers.
Let
That
him
way
know
he
that
knows
we're getting
we're
really
getting
close. Yeah. Any final thoughts on TLC before we move on?
No, no. Outside of, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it where it's at. I'm not gonna hunt down the vinyl,
I will not be doing that
and
either.
I didn't add it to my digital collection.
Yeah. I'm not going to like go back and listen to a whole lot of TLC
No.
going down the line, but I do understand why it's here and why it meant a lot to a lot of people.
Absolutely. Another band that meant a lot to a lot of people.
To some weirdos.
God.
Sorry
I
to my
I almost
barber.
said Francophile. It's not Francophile. I guess it would be like a, what do you call it? Like Britophiles? What do you call people obsessed
People who are obsessed with British people. I guess that's probably the term, if there
Probably
was
not.
one.
There's definitely not one. Okay. At any rate, at number 217, 1994, the debut album from Oasis, definitely maybe.
Anglophiles.
Oasis didn't get the memo about how 90s rockers had to be all angsty and fame-hating, but the Gallagher brothers' cockiness would have been hollow without the supersonic songs on their debut. Liam's insolent snarl and his brother Noel's dialed to 11 guitar on working-class anthems like the elevated Live Forever and the blaring Rock and Roll Star built off the Beatles and T-Rex to reach for their own glorious future. Now, you are not like you're not a fanboy, right?
No.
Did this completely change your mind and now you're a massive fanboy?
No. I suppose I could expand on that.
So Jamie and I had this conversation about how there are some people in the world that are just really into Oasis.
Yeah, which
Deeply.
we can't really blame because we're really into a couple bands too that some other people would
Yeah.
maybe scoff at.
Obviously.
But come on. I mean, there are some people that are just die-heartedly obsessed with Oasis. There are those people that literally put Oasis up there with the Beatles, like we talked about before. That's a real thing. I'm not making that up. People are
Yeah.
obsessed. There are people that really are into the Oasis. That's their favorite band.
Yeah.
And
it's not close.
I can't wrap my head around why.
I mean, I'm not gonna say that they're not a terrible band.
Dude, I'm not saying that either.
I find them to be pleasant, but I don't understand how I would become obsessed.
I find them to be really, really good and totally unoffensive in terms of, musically to my ears.
Yeah.
But I don't see it being something that's ever going to be like, oh my God, this is going to be like my top Desert Island album.
No.
Like, it's just never going to be that for me, I don't think. I think I can listen to this album 35 times and it would not get there for me,
This is not a Desert Island album for me. This is not an Airplane album for me. This is not a drive my car like a long distance album for me either, I don't think.
Yeah. And the mind-blowing thing is we definitely still have another Oasis one coming up.
Yeah, and that one I'm going to be a lot friendlier to.
Yeah, I mean, it's got
just
Wonderwall.
Because I know.
Is that why?
I mean, seriously, we just got done talking about fucking TLC.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, that fucking record is on here because it's got waterfalls.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. For sure.
So that's kind of where we're at with Oasis and What's the Story Morning Glory.
Yeah.
Now, I will say this. Wonderwall is not my favorite Oasis song.
What is?
Champagne Supernova.
Is that on that one too?
Yes.
See, I don't know that one. So it's going to be fun to listen to.
It's the very last track on the record, and it's like, it's so gloriously Oasis. The only thing you can do is love it.
It's cool because I mean they were definitely like the torchbearer for one side of rock music in the 90s, which is the Britpop side, which is completely different than whatever was going on in the United States, which was Nirvana, and
grunge
and various other bands, but following Nirvana probably. I mean, or you might argue following Alice in Chains, but
it's weird to think that there were people in the early 90s that didn't want to be filled with angst.
Yeah, these guys didn't.
Because that was that was seriously the fucking thing.
The thing, yeah, in the US, right?
And especially on the West Coast of
the
United States. Like, it was just like, yeah, just fuck all that stuff, man. You know what I mean?
You lived it.
Yeah, it was so, and I was a teenager.
I was a kid, so I didn't really get a full experience.
Yeah, no, you were a little kid. I mean, I was a fucking sophomore in high school.
You were like prime targeted audience for that.
That's right, dude. I was the fuel for that shit, man. Like, and it was glorious. It was wonderful.
Did you listen to Oasis?
I listened to Oasis when I was a senior in high school. Mostly because there were girls that I really wanted to have sex with that really liked Oasis.
Yeah, that'll do it every time.
And I mean, I liked Wonderwall. It was fine.
Yeah.
And for the record, I never fucking ended up having sex with those girls.
Never did. Yeah. Because you didn't learn how to play Wonderwall on the guitar.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Will you teach me Wonderwall?
Yeah, then you can go
just
back
in case
yeah.
I ever run into those girls.
To those girls. I'm prepped this time. I'm ready. We're kidding, of course.
Of course. At any rate, I wasn't into Oasis certainly in 1994. 1995 is when I graduated, and I mean, I'm assuming, Jesus, they must have released those albums really fucking close to each other. And I've never looked at what the release date of What's the Story Morning Glory.
Has to be shortly after.
Yeah, it has to be. What stood out for you on this one?
I'm gonna be honest, like not a whole lot. Like the biggest two stands out for me are Live Forever and Cigarettes and Alcohol.
Oh my god.
Was it right after?
I didn't even realize this. Holy shit.
Was it the same year?
No. This is so bizarrely personal. I'm so sorry, everybody. October 2nd of 1995 is when What's the Story Morning Glory was released. And I went to boot camp on December 5th of 1995.
Oh wow.
So like all of these memories that I'm having about just like what was happening in my life like right before I left for boot camp, like it never occurred to me that that album was so fucking brand new like during all of those times, and it really was like
Yeah.
fucking brand new. Cool.
Yeah. Very
In
cool.
there. Yeah. Okay, so for me, I mean, I have plenty of stars. I have plenty of stars next to songs.
My tops were Live Forever and Cigarettes and Alcohol. What do you have next to those?
3 stars next to Cigarettes and Alcohol, and Live Forever. Live Forever, I put 4.5 stars next to. I actually
4.5.
really love that. Yeah,
So I put 3 next to both, and that's as high as it gets for me on this. I'm gonna be honest.
I put 4 stars next to Rock and Roll Star. That's a super.
I
Fun
put 2
song.
onto it. You know, it's good, but it's just like very formulaic with along with several other songs like Shaker Maker, almost the exact same fucking song
Yeah.
as Rock and Roll Star. So like I feel like maybe I would have given that one more stars if I knew the next one didn't sound exactly the same, you know? I mean, really. And then even like so Live Forever was a little bit different. Up in the Sky. It's exactly the same as the first 2 for me, you know? Like almost the same thing. There was some cool stuff going on in Columbia. I gave that one 2 stars. I liked the big instrumental section in the middle, although it wasn't really going anywhere. Like you kept thinking like, oh, they're gonna do something cool in the middle because they had this big drawn out instrumental section, you know. Which
And I actually really like that part.
I was liking it, but I kept expecting it to do something, and it didn't.
No.
It just stayed exactly the same. Supersonic was their top single. I don't know why. I gave it a star. Again, I'll say one thing. Every song on the record, I have at least 1 star next to, which is not the case for a lot of albums. But a lot of them are just 1.
Here's the thing. What you're saying is that this album has whatever 12 or 13 songs, and they're all just rock and roll songs.
But they're all rock and roll songs that follow like the same chord progression.
I mean, they use the same chords.
Like a lot of
They
them
don't
are
follow-
exactly the same. Like a lot of them are like, and maybe that's just like my fault for being a music analyst guy, and like I'd love to like listen and figure out the chords and songs, but a lot of them are like literally the same 3 chords in the same order. I mean, and it's like you just did the same thing, and then you just put different words on it. It's like, you know.
I now want to go back and listen to this with like a more discerning ear to see if they really are like the exact same chords in the exact same order.
Yeah, I mean they're 1/7/4s for those music nerds among us.
That are just starting at different roots.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely different roots, but same like chord progressions, you know.
Yeah, but the same. Oh.
So it just kind of, yeah. I mean, again, I liked it. Like there were several stars, but I don't see why it's this high, especially when you have another one that everybody agrees is really good. Like everybody thinks What's the Story Morning Glory is really good. Do we need this in the top half?
No.
I'm not on that page. I'll tell
I
you.
don't know that I don't even know that I need this on the list.
I actually feel bad because we should have gotten somebody on this episode that really likes
loves
Oasis, because like we're just like, what's the point of people listening to us talk about shit about Oasis? Like, obviously we're not giant Oasis fans. We're gonna say what we feel. I'd love to hear from somebody that really loves this band and tell me why, because I'm open. I'd love to hear why, because it hasn't clicked for me yet. But it could, maybe it just hasn't clicked yet because I haven't listened to the right songs, or I haven't listened enough times or something. Because like obviously there's something to it, right? If Rolling Stone's putting it in the top, both of them in the top half.
I have a ton of stars. Like I wasn't nearly as stingy with my stars as you were.
Yeah.
There's not a single song in here that I put 5 stars next to. Like I say, the closest that I got was with Live Forever. And it's telling to me, like if I made a note, and keep in mind, like I made these notes kind of a while ago now at this point, But if I consciously made a note to say half, you know what I mean? Like I put 4 stars down next
That meant
to
there
it.
was something lacking.
Yeah. There was something that prevented me from saying, yeah, this fucking song really rips. You know,
Yeah.
like there's something that made me not want to do that. And I don't have a single 5-star song on this record. Now, that being said, there's a lot of stars that I have throughout here because even though they're all really basically the same song, that doesn't mean that they're bad.
And yeah, I don't think they're bad.
You know,
But I'm just going to be really critical when we get this high, and we're
I-
putting
and-
this. This is
and I
ahead
appreciate
of this is
that.
ahead of multiple Beatles records.
I know,
You know?
I know, and I appreciate the fact that you're doing that because I feel like some of what I did here was a little benefit of the doubty.
Because I feel like if this was like in the 400s, I would have been way less hard on it. You know what I mean?
Right.
But like, there are so many albums that this is ahead of that I'm just like not there. I will say Liam Gallagher, fantastic singer. Like, I think he's a good
Yeah.
front man.
He's a
I
good
like
front
his
man.
voice.
Do you think that Noel Gallagher is super overrated for his songwriting?
I mean, did he write most of the songs on this?
He wrote all the songs.
He wrote all the songs on this.
Which is telling for what your criticism is of the music. And that's why I'm asking. You know what I mean? Because you can be a great songwriter because you know how to write a song.
But also, like,
Because literally, if you write a great song, you are a great songwriter.
yeah, by definition.
And ostensibly, what you're telling me is that these are all the same song.
Not all, but like the first and the second and the fourth, like it definitely, like there's a but the other thing is, like, it's not all about the writing. Like, there are a lot of like whatever the band brought to the table and they all figured out their parts and stuff. They just kind of sound similar to me, like to the
Yeah,
point
but
that they
did you
don't
read-
sound enough different.
So how much did you dive into this very much? Because one of the things that so Liam Gallagher was like in these bands, right? And Noel was the older brother who was off to the side. And when Noel Gallagher got brought into this band, he was brought into the band with the auspices of I fucking control everything.
Noel did?
Yes.
Gotcha.
Like super domineering, super controlling. And it's funny because Ian,
I did not know that.
Liam was always the one that was portrayed as like the fucking bad guy asshole of the two brothers. But the more that I read about this record, the more I fucking hated Noel Gallagher.
He sounds like a
It's
dick.
like, Jesus, dude, you're a fucking asshole. Like saying that you have to have control. Like basically he demanded complete creative control.
He says he's widely considered to be one of the most influential songwriters in the history of British rock music. Whoa.
I mean, listen, he crushes that 174.
Well, maybe the thing is, maybe there's all these people that are going to be listening to this and they're going to be like, wow, JB's an idiot. Like, there's so much more going on there than that. What a simplification, and that could be the case.
There is a ton going on. Like, this record is super, super heavily produced, but I don't mind how produced it is.
Yeah.
Tons of guitar layers, fucking tons and tons of guitar layers throughout this whole record.
And the guitars are good. Like, I love the guitar tones, honestly, throughout. Like, and there's good guitar playing. And I'm not backpedaling at all, But like, maybe the case for me is that for me there's some filler here.
There's a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot of filler.
Because I like the songs that were good were really good. Like Live Forever, that's not a 174. That's a good song. I like that one a lot. Cigarettes and Alcohol. Again, good chorus, really good hook.
And you can also pick out the best 174 song.
Yeah, which is probably the first one.
Yeah, Rock and Roll Star.
Yeah.
It's a fucking really good song, dude.
Yeah.
Like, that's a fun song.
Yeah.
I get the criticism of saying, dickhead, you did a good one.
Yeah.
You
don't do the same song.
Yeah,
especially for the first two.
Yeah, you don't need to change the root of one and then just rehash the same fucking thing over again 2 or 3 times.
Which again, like, I should mention, like, that's an extremely common chord. It's not like they came up with
Yeah.
this and then like that is just highly prevalent in rock music in general, for sure.
Yeah.
But even just in the feel of it, I just felt like the first two songs felt like the same thing to me, and then the fourth song felt the same. So like I could have done without that, you know.
Yeah. I think, listen, I think you're fair. I think you're justified. I also, if you told me that this album was going to disappear completely off this list, I wouldn't be upset by that. Even though I starred the fuck out of it. Because I have tons of stars over this. I wasn't upset that I got to spend time with this record. I don't want to see it this high.
I for sure want it way, way lower.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say it needs to be completely off, because obviously it was highly influential, you know, or this band in general, you know, was highly influential. So I'm thinking this is for me, if I was making this, it'd be for 400, 450, or a little bit higher than that numerically,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
which is at a massively different position than it's in,
It's,
you know.
it's got a 4 handle on my list.
Yeah, for sure.
It's got a 4 handle.
But again, I wish we would have had somebody like, and we maybe for What's the Story Morning Glory, we can find an Oasis fan to bring on, because I'd love to really get their position on it.
And they can dick slap the shit out of us.
Yeah, because I deserve it. I've said some shit about Oasis. at this
Terrible
point.
stuff.
Yeah, I've really let it all out. So
You're a bastard.
I'm sorry.
I wish that you would just enjoy Oasis a little bit more. All right.
Why can't I bring myself to do it?
Shall we close this guy out?
Let's do it. Yep. You gonna call Lee? Oh my God, he's
shit,
there.
I'm so sorry, everybody. I was literally thinking about doing that without it being like this huge ringing noise in our ears.
There it was. And there's Lee. Hi, Lee. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah. No, and it's entirely my fault, just because I was thinking to myself, oh, his phone's gonna ring, but we won't be able to hear it at all while JB talks. And instead JB wasn't talking. So give JB a couple minutes to introduce the next record, and then we'll start talking about it if you're good.
Yes. We brought Lee Stamper on because he's a big Elliott Smith fan. Is that fair to say, Lee? Oh, yeah. The album we're talking about today is Either Or from 1997. Elliott Smith had ambitions to make records with a Beatles-esque sound, but zero interest in Beatles-esque fame when he recorded Either Or. While he achieved his dreams on several subsequent major label releases, the Portland, Oregon indie folk singer-songwriter's third album resonates because of his lo-fi, whisper, and gritty, sepia-toned lyrics. His songs struck a nerve well beyond the Northwest music scene. Madonna, of all people, covered the morosely pretty drunk's lullaby Between the Bars, which is a beautiful song.
Holy fuck, dude. I didn't
realize that either.
I didn't fucking read this before. Wow.
Have you?
That's
Yeah.
crazy. I need to go back and fucking find this goddamn Madonna cover now.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued.
Absolutely.
So, Lee Stamper, is this your favorite Elliott Smith?
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah, there's no fucking part of this that's Beatles-esque to me.
Yeah, and
Like,
I'm trying to
no
think.
part of this.
I mean, there are a
that
couple
way.
songs that have like a full band sound to them, although they're few and far between.
Well, the mental state
And
of
their
the
mental
Beatles
state, yeah,
would have been
would have been in question. Would have been, yeah, tumultuous.
Well played, Lee Stamper. Well played. I fucking love this record so much. And when I took notes on this record, I wouldn't have necessarily said that. But again, this was one of those that because of just life, and kind of the time that we had in between recordings and everything.
You had time to listen again and again.
And again.
So you probably did a
And
lot of
again.
your listening after you took notes.
Yeah.
Did you go back and restar any of them?
No. No, I didn't want to do that because I knew that we were going to talk about it. I'm even happier to talk about it with Lee on the line too, just because I think he'll be able to talk. I think he'll be able to understand like my generalities, if that makes sense. Because yeah. Well, I'll just go into it. There's a bunch of songs on here that even after because I probably took notes on this after I'd listened to it 3, maybe 4 times. And this was probably like my 4th time through that I took notes on it. And I love fucking Alameda. I love Speed Trials. Pictures of Me is a 5-star. Like that might be the only one that I put 5 stars next to. But Alameda and Speed Trials I both put 4 stars next to. Cupid's Trick towards the end of the album I put 4 stars next to. And then Say Yes as well.
I put 5 stars next to Cupid's Trick and Say Yes.
Yeah.
Those were my 2 5 stars. That was it. There were several others that I gave 3 and 4 stars to, but those were definitely my biggest highlights. What do you think about those 2? Go ahead, Lee. I definitely had 4 stars next to Between the Bars. That's a beautiful song.
Yeah. And that's kind of where I got to it as well. I want it to start with Speed Trials, but then I don't want it to stop. I just let it play through.
So there are highlights, but it's really just about the album as a whole.
Yeah, but the crazy thing to me is I'm curious as to first of all, I want to listen to this cover of Between the Bars, but I want to go back and listen to Between the Bars by itself too, because that's one that
yeah, I was just looking up the cover.
Elliott Smith, by his nature, is he's like a super moody motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like all of his music is just, it's a mood. But the reason why I think I connected with this record in a weird way is because when you spend enough time with this record, it's not just a mood. Like it feels like a lifetime, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Sometimes you need what you need, though, if that's what you needed. Yeah, just kind of a depressing line. Yeah, for sure.
It's it's so weird that you yeah, I don't know how to describe I don't know how to describe this other than I mean, I'm not like I have a great life. You know what I mean? Like I really do have a great life. Like I'm so thankful for everything in my life. But I don't know, whatever, 10 days ago, I'm like walking my dog around the block and I'm listening to this record again. Just because I don't know why. I don't know why the fuck I kept listening to this fucking record. I don't know why. Like I just was. And I was like a block away from my house. I think it was probably on it was either I think it was Alameda actually. It was like the tail end of Alameda. And you know, Lee, you made the comment that like if you connect too closely with this record, like that could be a bad thing, you know. And I totally understand what you're saying from a lyrical standpoint, but at the same time, like the music here is not. If you can divorce a lot, if you can divorce a lot of what he's saying from just like what he's creating musically, that clicked with me. And I don't
Yeah, it really is.
and you know that's funny because maybe that's what it was. You know, maybe that's what it was. I can't I can't really make sense of it outside of just saying that like there was a moment, and I think I sent you a text message when that happened because I remember texting you while I was walking that dog, and I sent you a message and I said, I get Elliott Smith. Like I get it now. And I don't know why. It was just I don't know why. It was like this weird kind of bittersweet moment, which is easy to find in Elliott Smith music, but it was also um
Just because maybe you're not in that position though, I think you can still maybe remember times in your life that you were close to maybe feeling the way that you're perceiving his feelings to be. So like maybe you identify with it on from that stance. But I mean, just because you're not actively feeling the way that he's obviously kind of feeling in general, I mean, I think you can still sympathize with him, and especially like listening to this again and again, I can see that eventually like emotionally clicking, you know? Yeah, he's put himself out there.
Jesus. Ugh.
Nothing really can be enough. Hmm. So you can still enjoy it now.
Jesus, Lee Stamper. Yeah, you were. Good God. There's a lot. There's a lot.
Well, yeah, and it's part of why it leaves such an impression on so many people, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but they're also going to capture that fucking mood too.
Yeah.
There's no way to dodge it.
But yeah, I see it, like, see what you're saying, like, musically, it's fantastic. I mean, there's
What
definitely
did you
some.
do with this? Like, we haven't talked about anything for you yet.
I loved it. I don't know if I listened. I mean, I didn't listen to it like 30 times like you did. So
okay.
I probably listened to it like 4 times, and I think I need to keep at it, to tell you the truth. But I mean, I loved it. There were several songs that I really resonated with. I mean, I loved Between the Bars. And like I said, I loved Cupid's Trick, and I loved Say Yes. I love his voice, which usually like the thinner, higher voices, like in some of this like more I mean, it's kind of indie kind of thing, wouldn't you say? Like if you're to put this in a genre,
Super.
yeah, are not always my thing. I love while that's the case, I do I love his voice, you know. And I love what he does. I love his chord progressions he comes up with, which are really interesting and not typical necessarily. Um, yeah, I'm a fan for sure.
He creates like a very definitive atmosphere.
Yeah, it's unmistakable.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Um, so who?
No. No. So the Rose Parade is an annual thing in Portland. Yeah.
At a parade, yeah.
Yeah, so there's tons of references all throughout. So Portland is the city of roses, right? So that's what Rose Parade refers to. Alameda is a street that runs through Portland, and so like all of those lyrics, like there's a fucking ton of Portland on here. And another thing that I loved about this record, and it's totally inconsequential. I don't even know what song it was, but one of these songs was recorded in Arcata, California. Yeah, at a record or a recording studio there called the Body Shop. And I was telling, JB and I were talking about this before the podcast started. Like any time that I hear about Arcata, California, which is where I went to college at, it's a super fucking small town too, like 10,000 people. And so anytime that anybody that is connected to Humboldt State University or that knows about Arcata, when Arcata pops up, you're just like, oh, what the fuck? And so the fact that Elliott Smith recorded a song in Arcata, it's so poetic, like it's so fucking fitting. Like he's Arcata, he's a fucking busker kid on the plaza in Arcata. Yeah. I know, right? Totally. Yeah, absolutely. What do you, Lee? Do you? I mean, we talked about this because you mentioned that Figure Eight's your favorite album. Would you rather? I mean, do you think? Multiple point question. Do you want to see multiple Elliott Smith albums on this list? Do you think that multiple albums of his belong on this list? And if no, if there was only one, would you rather see this or would you rather see Figure Eight?
You did say you think this is the best Elliott Smith, though, even though it's not your favorite.
The most accessible.
Yeah. Gotcha. So you think both of them?
So you think both of them? Yeah.
I was gonna say like it feels weird to even talk about it because of like the emotional level at which we've talked about this, but that is kind of the point of the show is we talk about like the order and stuff. Like, so what other albums that we've had thus far would you compare to this, Mike? Like what other artists that we've had would you like
that I would compare to Elliott Smith?
would you like if you're gonna like represent this genre?
What the fuck? What would you even call this?
Indie.
But it's not. I mean, he's so
The closest thing I can think of is Neutral Milk Hotel that we've had so far.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, like when we talked about Neutral Milk Hotel, I'd have to go back and see exactly what I said, but I'm pretty sure that I said that was criminally hundreds of spots low.
Yeah.
And that over in the Airplane Over the Sea should be a top 100 album, and I still feel that way. And for me, I would put that higher than this.
Why?
And I don't know, because like maybe that's just like
It's
I'm trying to think of
more
like
dynamic.
I'm trying to think of what I'm trying to think. Maybe just certain albums resonate with people emotionally in different ways. Like something about Jeff Mangum, like his style just like rips at my
Just gets
heartstrings, maybe a little bit more than Elliott Smith personally. But maybe that's nothing. That's not to say anything different about Elliott Smith. It's just personally me. That's
Lee,
just
where do you stand on that? Because I mean, those are like both Elliott Smith and Neutral Milk Hotel. Like those are like super close to your heart. So I'm just kind of curious as to what you would say to JD's comments. Oh fuck! All right, my bad. I'm sorry.
yeah. And the only reason I'm comparing is because that's kind of a thing we try to do. Like, otherwise, I wouldn't even fucking worry about it. But the fact that we're doing a show where we try to compare, so I'm trying to.
Do you think that? What the fuck was that? I mean, we have him coming up like next week too. Joy Division, right? With Ian Smith, that guy from fucking Joy Division, that's just like helplessly fucking depressed.
Yeah.
Like, just good fucking God, like end me. But he's the electronica version of End Me, and Elliott Smith is like the fucking
acoustic guitar version.
Yeah, the acoustic version of End Me. I mean, where do you? There's not a contemporary, right? Lee Stanford. Okay, so that's right. You read my mind, you motherfucker. So we haven't encountered the Smiths yet. Do we get the Smiths? The Queen is Dead, right? Like the Queen is Dead has to be on here somewhere.
I'm not overly familiar with the Smiths.
Yeah.
I hate to say it. So it sounds like I'll.
Yeah, I would be stunned too. Okay.
Okay.
Too dark.
Hmm. And Needle in the Haze on the debut, right?
Yeah, the
Yeah,
subtitle.
that's when. Yeah, we did that one.
I feel like now I need to go and listen to Figure Eight just to see, how his sound evolved.
Because
But,
you're totally unfamiliar with that.
yeah,
Yeah,
I've
me
never
too.
listened to it.
Yeah, me neither.
Never, ever. But I'll be honest with you, Lee. Like where I sit right now, I can't fathom a record that Elliott Smith would make that would appeal to me more than what this one has at this point. Which is a bizarre thing to say because it's so weird when it happened. It's so weird. It's like getting hit with a bolt of lightning.
Yeah.
It just it was
See,
like,
now I'm like, really, I want to go back and listen
It's
more
so
to see if I have
strange.
that experience. Not that I didn't love it, because I did. Again, big fan. But I'm wondering if it would just really resonate if I just put a little bit more time in. Mm.
sure, like how he changed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Going back to what we were talking about before, I wasn't sure. I couldn't really find a studio version from Madonna of the Between the Bars. I think it's like something that she's covered live.
Oh, seriously?
But she put a live version on Twitter a few years ago, and she said Between the Bars, strumming my favorite song when everyone else is asleep with a heart. So it's Madonna's favorite song is Between the Bars by Elliott Smith. Yeah.
Poor Lee Stamper's brain. Hmm. Yeah, from Austin.
Yeah. Yeah, or even non-singer. I mean, it's been a thing forever. I mean, going back to fucking like Robert Johnson,
Yeah.
I mean, just as an earlier example, I mean, that this kind of thing happens all the time.
Do you did we already talk about this? Where do you want to see this? Either of you. In terms of placement on this list.
So again, I'm of the like I would this kind of had me thinking about Neutral Milk Hotel, if only because of the fact that I like to think about comparisons,
Mhm.
But it's not that I want to see this brought down; it's that I want to see Neutral Milk Hotel brought into the top 100. I loved it, just from the 3 or 4 listens that I did, and I'm curious if it would even become one of my favorites if I listen more and more. But even just from that, I think I'm cool with it where it is. I don't want to drop it. Who can?
I don't hate those sentiments, Lee, but I do think that there's a little bit of, I don't know how I would describe it, a universal mood in a bottle that he captures here. And I think that that's why it clicked with me, is because it was just I mean, there's a lot of stuff. Like there was just a lot of stuff that I felt like, oh, okay, yeah, this dude's been here. This dude knows what this is. And from that's, yeah,
Success.
I'd probably want to see this move up 50. I'd like to see it somewhere between 150 and 200.
Wow.
I think is where I would like to see this. Fuck
Nice.
you! Really? Did you find this used or is it a repress? Oh man! Oh, that's awesome.
Very nice, though. I don't have it. Do you have it?
No,
Yeah.
no, but I'm happy to know that this is still
Is
in
this out there?
production.
Yeah, because I'll get it too. Yeah.
Fuck yeah, yeah,
Hell yeah.
very quickly. Because I do own the debut.
You do? You have it on
I
vinyl?
do, yeah.
I don't have any
the
Elliott
debut
Smith.
on vinyl, and I like that record, but it's not. It doesn't have the same polish that this one does, and I know that that's a really weird thing to say because it's not like this album is like heavily produced.
Highly polished. Yeah.
No, like it's not polished at all. But if you listen to this relative to
the debut.
it's like he really grew a lot as an
Yeah.
artist, and I think that there was a lot of emotional growth too, and that. Yeah, DIYing it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Lee Stamper.
Yeah. Absolutely. Love you too.
buddy.
And well, you know what? We need to do a full episode with you soon.
I know, exactly. We can't just do this one album shit.
We can't keep meeting like this. What'd you say?
Did we settle our fish debate about Okie?
Oh, no, I mean, it wasn't really even a debate. We were just testing you out, I think.
Actually, it was just JB testing both of us, and we both failed. We're fucking noobs. It's okay.
Last time I go to a fish show with you guys. Good God, can't be seen. I got to think about my image.
Thank you,
yeah,
Saber.
thanks, Lee. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
All right, bye. Well, that was awesome having Lee on.
Yeah, it was.
And I enjoyed that conversation very much. So,
Mhm.
you know, check out Elliott Smith if you haven't, which I bet a lot of you haven't. You know,
I mean, I think that it's funny because I was reading an interview somewhere along the way where like this girl was getting an Elliott Smith tattoo, like on her foot or something. And she was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure that every artist that's listened to Elliott Smith has an Elliott Smith tattoo, but it's kind of like this weird little club of people
Wow.
that are like heavily influenced by him. And it's fun because I get it. And it's, you know, for my own reasons, and we can talk about it in more detail. We're not fucking broadcasting to the world, but it's super special record. Special record. I'm really glad that I spent enough time with it that it means what it means to me now. So
for sure. Yeah.
Should we preview next week?
You want to preview first, or you want to recap? Do our top favorite first.
Let's do our top favorite.
Let's do the top ones. I've been looking through a little bit. So this is something we've been doing every 25.
Yeah,
we've been going through, and we've been I haven't narrowed it down yet. I have narrowed it down to 4 but I'm still deciding from those four.
Okay.
We know that my favorite is going to be 808s and Heartbreak. Psych. Okay, I'll tell you what. Should I tell you my top? Should I tell you my top four?
Yes.
Is that okay? And then I'll narrow it down from there after I kind of talk about it out loud a little bit.
Yeah.
So, American Idiot,
Okay.
Loaded, Velvet Underground.
Yep.
Sorry, give me 1 second. Master of Reality
Mm-hmm.
and Layla, another assorted love songs.
Man.
And fuck, I think my favorite. I'm gonna do American Idiot with a close second of Master of Reality. And it's not that I think that American Idiot's better. It's just that it had a massive impact on my musical upbringing, and I have to go with it. So I'm picking American Idiot. My answer is final. Maybe it's not. Maybe I'll rethink it. No, it's final.
Listen, I love that. And if I had to create a top five, I guess my top five would include, and I'm going to apologize on behalf of the fucking garbage website that Rolling Stone has created. They decided that they wanted to spend more money on fucking pop-up ads than they wanted to spend on creating a functional fucking list. You cocksuckers.
They decided that their goal was to make you contract AIDS from the website.
Okay. Top five out of the last 25. Layla.
Being number 5 or just random?
Randomly.
Okay, yeah.
Layla is in there. Discovery by Daft Punk is
Yep.
in there. Giant Steps by John Coltrane. Little
Yeah.
Earthquakes by Tori Amos and Master of Reality. My favorite out of all those was Master of Reality.
Nice. Yeah.
That fucking record.
I thought that was going to be yours.
absolutely smashed.
It's
dude.
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, because it was one that, fuck, I can't, like, how did I not uncover that record fucking 30 years ago?
Luckily now you know.
Yeah.
Now we
Yeah.
both know.
Now I do.
Excellent.
Honorable mention though to Little Earthquakes, because that fucking record from Tori Amos really, really rips.
Yeah, it's incredible.
So
yeah.
Get on it if you haven't.
Okay, next week.
Yeah.
So
At
You wanna
number 215, the first time we're going to talk about next week is going to be American Beauty and the Grateful Dead.
that's right. 214, we have Tom Petty's Wildflowers. Probably his top on there.
Yeah, it has to be. It's got to be the last penny. 213, if you go on Apple, the idler wheel that drives the screw because I like really song. We'll read it all next week.
Yeah,
The
eventually.
idler
If we have time, we'll read it next week. 212 is Nina Simone. Wild is the Wind.
And the last album we'll talk about, hopefully in just a couple of days, number 211, Joy Division, Unknown Pleasures from 1980.
That's right. So tune in next week. Thank you all for listening.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see you next time. This list sucks.
Oh. That was fun with Lee.
Yes, it was.
Dude,